the dynamic relationship between sales and operations. What's happening? It's Eric J. Olson. As far as the whole funnel, if you will, for getting clients in here, the very first stop is our marketing collateral. These are things like our posts on social media, the ads that are running in places like Google and Facebook, the things that we do to get general attention, either across the entire population or within, ideally, a segment that we support. So as an example, if we want to sign on a lot of lawyers for our law firm marketing offering, we will run ads targeted to lawyers, and we speak in terms that they understand. And then we drive them to our website, arraylaw.com, and hopefully they get to a point where they're like, this is interesting. I want to talk to these people. And they'll either fill out a form, or they'll schedule a call in Calendly, or they'll just pick up a call. They'll pick up a phone and they'll call us. So the very first step is marketing. The second step is sales. At that point, our sales force takes over. Those leads go to Kevin, and then Kevin dishes them out to the salesperson that's most available, most qualified, whatever. He has a way of figuring out who's going to get what lead. And so he assigns those leads to, at this point, it's Glenn or Joe. Sometimes he keeps them himself. We're hiring more salespeople. And so he's a distributor of the leads. The salesperson gets involved. They are the first stop, like when it comes person to person, on the journey, if you will, the buyer's journey. So when a lawyer wants to possibly do some work with us, they're interacting with the salesperson, and they're establishing a relationship with the salesperson to the point where hopefully they get an agreement and they sign the agreement. When that agreement gets signed, we need to shift who owns the relationship. And here's why. Salespeople are really good at selling, but generally speaking, they're not good at running operations. And what I mean by that is there's just not a lot of people who know a lot about selling and have time and knowledge to actually perform the function of whatever it is that they sold. We're a service-based business. So it's not like, they're buying a t-shirt and it just gets delivered. Like this is constant serving of whatever it is that we sold. So we need an operations team that is going to then take the relationship and they're going to take it from there. And so there's an actual handoff here to Array Digital. The salesperson and the operations folks are in a meeting that we call the kickoff meeting. They're in the meeting together. And the purpose is to begin the transition of the relationship being owned by the salesperson to the relationship being owned by operations. And in particular, in our case, by Jamal, who is our project manager. And so the goal of this kickoff meeting is that Jamal is running the meeting. He's interacting with the client, and the salesperson is there just to add some color commentary if needed, maybe explain a few things. But their job is pretty much over at that point. Now, what we say to sales is we want you to continue to talk to the client, but you're not going to get involved in operations. You're not going to take, direction from them as far as what needs to happen in the operations itself. Defer all that to Jamal or to Jake, and they'll take care of it. They own the relationship now. And so there's a very clear handoff at the kickoff meeting. And this is important because if we had the same person, whether it's a salesperson or an account manager, doing both of those things all the time, we would never scale. There is no way that you cannot have the same quantity and quality of work happening if everything goes through one person. Again, whether it's a salesperson or an account manager, doesn't really matter. And so we need to take those things and we need to split them up. There is a division of labor and a division of disciplines here that is crucial. Sales sells, operations operates. It's very clear from the names what their role is and what their purpose is. And we do not like crossover at all. Now, there's communication, there's collaboration between the two groups, and they act as one big Array Digital team. But we don't want our operations people selling, and we don't want our salespeople jumping into operations. They need to talk to one another. And so anytime that I see that happens, where one side crosses over the other side, it's a big no for me. And that's when I really start to get involved and frankly assert myself and say, we're not doing that here. Sales, sell, and operations, operate. So it's clear from the name, it's clear from the direction that we've given them, but it's important. And we, when something's important, you have to say it a lot of times. You have to say it to a lot of different people. Sometimes you have to say it in a different way. You have to write it down. You have to remind the team. But, really importantly, when you see something happening that is inconsistent with the way that you want it, it's your responsibility to say something immediately and to speak up and enforce the things that you've said, the way that you've already said that you want things done. Because if you just let it kind of like pass on by without correcting it, you are implicitly saying, yeah, well, I guess it wasn't that important anyways. And that's what people hear from your silence. So you have to say what you want and then make sure that what happens is what you said you want to have happen. How much more successful would you be if you could harness the experience of a group of successful business owners? If you could learn from their successes and avoid mistakes they've made in the past? Array Mentors provides the framework and the guidance to help you find your way, get you on the right path, and accelerate your journey to more money and more success. Check out the details at arraymentors.com.